Gentlemen, we have called you together to inform you that we are going to overthrow
the government of Scotland.
Do you still think that jet fuel brought down the World Trade Center? Does anybody else see a problem here? If the government has nothing to hide, why are they so afraid to answer a few questions? This story does not add up.
But this is Mumsy, a proper campaigner, activist, and fights against all abuse.
That's right, my darling.
Tell them what you're doing here.
I'm doing here against Holly Gregg for Robert Green, free Robert Green from Aberdeen. He's in prison for 1 year.
For telling the truth.
For telling the truth, for giving out a leaflet like I am.
Yeah, Robert Green is in prison because he's tried to expose lawyers, doctors, psychiatrists, all the professionals right across the board up in Scotland, raping Down syndrome and disabled children. And he is in prison. Oi, Salman, you've got to do something. That's the Scottish Prime Minister. You want independence? Oh, yeah. What, with the kids as well? Love you.
Robert Green is British. Bring him home.
What are you here for?
I'm here for Holly Gregg.
What are you here for?
Holly Gregg?
What are you here for?
Holly Gregg.
What are you here for?
The Holly Gregg appeal.
What are you here for?
Holly Gregg.
What are you here for?
Holly.
What are you here for?
Holly and Robert.
What are you here for?
Holly Gregg.
What are you here for?
To support Holly Gregg.
What are you here for?
Holly Gregg.
What are you here for?
Holly Gregg.
What are you here for?
Holly Gregg.
What are you here for? Holly Gregg.
The injustice that's going on in the world, yeah? How you doing, big man?
Commonly known as Doc.
Come on, girl.
Come on, girls. Very big crying.
I should get in big trouble if these photos are
Well, I've got to send these on to you.
How comes you get all the girls?
I don't know. Obviously, I'm old enough.
Brian gets all the girls.
We've got quite a few people.
Right, Brian, let's do a little... What's happening here today, Brian? Just give us a quick interview.
I think this is one of the most important court cases for children in the country.
Absolutely.
Basically, a decision was made in a court that Holly Gregg was not competent. This is after the police originally said that she was competent, and that was recorded in writing. A reliable, competent witness. A judge then ruled she's not competent. The judge had no medical or expert opinion to rely on, and she was not qualified herself.
Because she has Down syndrome. They're saying that she's not competent, even though she was competent.
Well, they're not using any evidence. They're making an arbitrary decision, and of course why they want that decision is they want to undermine her as a credible witness in the horrific child abuse, rape and sexual assault that she suffered.
And who were the perpetrators?
Well, we know the perpetrators were members of the Scottish legal establishment. They included sheriffs, police, social services people. But the key bit is this is the state blatantly attempting to silence this little girl, well, young lady now, by taking her away from her mother.
Brian, tell me about the £13,000 compensation that Holly received.
Well, the bizarre thing about this story is although the Scottish establishment consistently tried to say there was no abuse, there was no rape, Holly was awarded criminal injuries of £13,500, and this
For
just...
what?
Well, this is it.
If it never happened, why did they give her £13,000?
Well, it was quite clearly it was a bribe to attempt to bribe her mother from pursuing the case. And of course, what the public also need to know is that this very brave Lady Anne Gregg was put in a psychiatric unit simply because she tried to speak out about what happened to her daughter.
They sectioned her, didn't they?
They sectioned her. Police, social services and a psychiatrist broke into her, or came into her flat. She was forced to the ground, her trousers were pulled down and a needle stuck in her backside, and then she wakes up in a psychiatric unit.
Outrageous.
This is Britain today. David Cameron knows what's going on, Ken Clarke knows what's going on, Eilish Angelini knows what's going on. The state is covering
and
up.
Salman?
Alex Salmon is the same. These people know what is going on. They are complicit in the abuse of children because our politicians and the Scottish politicians and the judges know this abuse is going on. This is not being done by dirty old men in raincoats at street level. This is being done by people in society. The evidence is there, the witness statements are there. This is one case which is very high profile because of the sheer scale of the cover-up. But you know full well this is happening right the way across the country.
Yeah.
But if you actually analyse what has happened here, of course there's no jury. We have 3 judges clearly setting out to support a fellow judge. That is obvious. And it wasn't just the appeal is not upheld. The judge was highly critical of the family and what they have tried to do to protect Holly at the end of the day. And I'm going to use this occasion to say that John Hemming MP has been brave enough to stand up on a stage in public and be filmed saying that in his opinion as an MP, the family courts are utterly corrupt, and he has called for the head of the Family Law Division to stand down. So now we have MPs admitting that the judicial system in this country is not only corrupt, many of us are now totally convinced that it is so corrupt it will act to protect paedophiles provided they are people of status in society. If you are somebody at the bottom end of the social spectrum and you are caught being a paedophile, the state will throw everything against you. If you are at the upper echelons and you are hidden amongst the senior police, judiciary, military, whatever, the state will protect you.
Brian, if I could just interrupt you, when you was talking about the BBC, ITV, etc., the national media not reporting this story, what I have to tell you is that there were 3 Sky News teams outside. They're waiting for Ryan Giggs. They would not, even with all these people there, they refused to report this. Yeah. So I'd like to just back up what you just said. The national media, they are not putting this across, and many other cases, Brian.
Well, what we've got to do now is start asking the questions of the media. It's not enough to say the BBC will not report. We need to say who are the people in the BBC who are stopping this. We need their names, we need to know who they are, and we need to bring them into the public domain. Let's not try and expose an organisation blandly called the BBC. Let us identify the people who are protecting the paedophiles by not reporting what's going on.
Well, the BBC, Brian, you know, risk of teaching my granny how to suck eggs here, they are taking £3.4 billion from the licence payers of this country every year, and they do not represent us, they represent a minority. Absolutely. And I suggest that the BBC, if you don't pay your Sky bill, they close you down. If you don't pay your television licence, they take you to court. Yeah. That is state-run TV, absolutely. And that brings us back to the communism that you were talking to, that seems to be practising, and all of us people in this country, they are doing something to us that is taking away our freedom of speech, and there are good people still here. Well, you've got them around you at the moment, Brian.
Well, the thing I will say is that the attack is on all of us. It doesn't matter what status you are, it doesn't matter whether you're professional or unemployed, it doesn't matter whether you are black, white, Muslim, Christian. This state is now attacking its own people. And it is obvious that people in Parliament not only know what's going on, they are part of the child abuse system. We have recently written to Sarah Tether, Families and Children's Minister, and we asked a simple question. When it says in your responsibilities that you are responsible for marketing and commissioning of children's services, we simply ask, what does that mean? It sounds like commercial exploitation of children. She will not answer the question. She has not answered a Freedom of Information request. She has gone silent. And let's not forget, I'm not now talking about Conservatives or Labour. We're talking a Lib Dem, a Liberal Democrat MP who is hiding to cover up her involvement with what is happening with children. We know from experts amongst the public here that Kent County Council has spent over £100,000 effectively trafficking British children out of the country. We know that the total amount of money that barristers and law firms are making from children's cases is about £20 billion a year.
Unbelievable.
This is massive, and if anybody says to me David Cameron does not know what's going on, he absolutely knows.
Absolutely. Well, can I interrupt you again? I actually had captured, if you like, Nick Clegg just before the election, and I said to Nick Clegg, what are you going to do about institutional paedophile rings that are operating in this country now? He said, I don't know what you mean by institutional.
Absolutely, because they will deny everything. They cannot look at the evidence, because if they look at the evidence, they're hung by their own petard.
Okay, get this guy.
Here we come.
Okay, God bless you, Brian. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you,
Welcome,
Brian.
welcome.
Thank you,
Can I just say, welcome to the Gestapo. Here we have the general public being thrown out of their own court. It is extraordinary, isn't it? Extraordinary.
Yeah, all these people here, and now we have 3 officers. Okay, thank you. Hey, let's hear it with Brian Garish. Lil, back here, back and forth.
Anne and Holly Gregg and Robert Green. It's
Well done,
not
Brian.
me. So can you repeat that?
And of course, can we hear it for Holly Gregg and Brian Garish and Robert Green and Oliver? And shame on you! Lil, we rolling? Are you okay, darling? Okay. You can say a few words for us?
Hello, Wally.
Okay, here we are with Anne and Holly. They've just come out of court. You can hear the applause that's going on. What's happening, Anne?
Oh, well, we're back in the court of protection.
Yeah. So they're sending you back there?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, not the best, but
Yeah.
we've got to fight them one way or another. So
Yeah.
we've got to do it this way.
And you've been fighting them, and
Yeah.
you're going to carry on fighting them because she's worth it.
Yeah.
And we love you. You know that. You see all the Holly. You see all these people. All these people. They're all here for you, darling, because they love you. You understand? And Robert and your mum. Okay, and we're going to do everything we can for you.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, baby. All right. So, shall we leave it at that? Short and sweet. Okay, we're going to leave it at that. There we go. Hooray!
Bye, Ollie. Bye, Anne.
Right, bye, Holly. See you again, all right? Have a lovely evening, guys.